What's up guys, it's Pliskin here, and on Pliskin's Picks we've covered rifles, we've covered snipers, pretty sure we covered SMGs, yeah, with the UMP. Today we're going to switch it up and we're going to cover one of not the most underrated pistols, nor the lesser known pistols, but a pistol that failed to become iconic all the same. Today, we're talking about the H&K USP. Designed in the late 80s to the early 90s, the USP was finally produced by H&K in Germany in 1993. It comes in 9mm, 40 Smith & Wesson, 45 ACP, and 357 SIG. The ranges vary depending on what round you're employing. Generally, you get 30 meters with 45 ACP and 50 meters with 9mm, and the other two vary as well. Its lightest variant is the compact 9mm variant, which is 1.47 pounds. The heaviest variant, we'll go over more in detail later, is the MK23 SOCOM, which is a reworked version of the HK USP and 45 ACP for the US Special Forces. With all the designed attachments on top of this pistol, it comes out to being about 5 pounds, which is ridiculous for a pistol. The USP is a double-action magazine-fed handgun. If you remember my video on sidearms, you'll remember that double action essentially means that after you pull the trigger, you don't have to do anything after, pulling the trigger again. So you can fire and fire and fire and fire until you're out of ammunition. Like most other double actions in existence, the USP relies on the trigger activating a hammer, which is located on the top of the gun near the back of the slide. This hammer, after every time you pull the trigger, flies forward, hits the primer on your round, sends the round out, the gun will recoil, the slide will come back, resetting the hammer, and then you're good to go over and over and over again until you're out of ammunition. In reality, the USP is considered one of the finest sidearms on the market. It's crazy reliable, has comfortable ergonomics, and is, in every sense of the word, a top-notch pistol. However, you won't really see this in the hands of civilians too often. Most of the time you'll see military operators or high-end police units employing this pistol. That's because it is crazy expensive. Now, I'm not saying you don't get the quality you're paying for the price. However, that outstanding price of sometimes being around, I've seen in gun shops, $3,000 can be a little daunting for the civilian gun owner. However, despite that price tag, I've met few civilian gun owners and military contractors who have complained in any other way besides the price when it comes to the H&K USP. While the reality of the USP is a little boring in the sense that, yeah, this is a great gun, it's just really expensive, in video games its story is a lot more interesting. Now, there was this little game, I don't know if you heard me talking about it before, back in the 90s called Metal Gear Solid, in which the main protagonist, Solid Snake, brandishes the MK23 SOCOM. Well, technically the MK23, here's a fun fact, the MK23 SOCOM is a civilian version of it. The actual one is called the MK23 Mod 0. So, I'm not sure what the difference is there between them, however, just so you know. That being said, Metal Gear Solid went on to become one of the most successful video game franchises of all time, and the weapons featured in this game all found their place showing up in different video games as kind of stealthy or high-tech special forces type weapons, and this of course includes the USP. The Modern Warfare games that came out in the earlier 2000s featured this USP, and you can feel Metal Gear Solid's influence here. It's a USP in 45 ACP. Your character will carry it with a knife, giving that whole tactical vibe, and it's not normally brandished by random infantrymen you play as. Normally, you'll pull out the USP when playing as the SAS Special Forces. And yes, like in Metal Gear, it does come suppressed. However, Metal Gear Solid 2 one-ups both Call of Duty and the original Metal Gear Solid by featuring not one, but two variants of the USP, a compact 9mm variant, and the iconic SOCOM from the first game. Although Solid Snake here shows a little bit of growth in terms of knowing his guns and having better taste, as rather than using the overly heavy SOCOM variant in 45 ACP, he manages to snag off a USP in 9mm, which is A, easier to suppress for his, stealth action espionage type missions, and B, is a lot easier to fire in rapid succession and handle overall. He does still keep around his SOCOM, although he passes it off to the new playable character, Raiden, early on in the game. I'm throwing this in here as an honorable mention, however, Leon's signature pistol that you start with in Resident Evil 4, while being a mostly fictional gun, is modeled after the USP, sharing a lot of features. In Resident Evil 2, however, you get a very nicely modeled compact 9mm version of the USP, which is employed by Umbrella Special Forces soldiers, which is a perfect fit for such a weapon. So now that I'm done gushing about the USP in video games and reality, let's talk about why it isn't iconic and prolific everywhere. Like I mentioned before, the price is just crazy, and if there wasn't any other competition that could offer same type of quality but at a lower price, the USP would still probably be able to get away with that. However, when I can buy a Glock, which is a crazy reliable gun that offers me the same amount of quality as a USP, maybe a little less, but around the same amount of quality as the USP, that I can trust my life to, that I can make as modular and edit and take apart and customize as much as I want to for $500 to $650, of course everyone's gonna buy Glock instead of spending $3,000 for a USP. And let me reiterate, it's not like you're taking a large dip in quality if you choose Glock. No, you're pretty much going to get the exact same performance, however Glock offers it at a much cheaper price. So it's really the price that kills the USP within the real life market. Now within video games, the USP is kind of falling out of favor because it's no longer that Special Forces pistol. SOCOM replaced the USP with the SIG P22-6. And after the SIG P22-6, guess what replaced it? The Glock. The Mark 26, 27, and I think now 28 that we're on are all Glocks. All of it coming up to the Glock 19X, which is currently what SOCOM is using. Now there were two reasons why the USP got replaced by SOCOM. The first being the price. The second being the variant they had to get the performance they wanted was way too goddamn heavy at 5 pounds. So they could get similar result from the SIG and then later the Glock in regards to what they wanted out of an offensive stealth handgun. So with that in mind, since Glock is the ongoing handgun that all the special forces in the United States use and all police units use and that everyone uses because it's great and it's cheaper, if the OG Metal Gear Solid was made today, guess what Solid Snake would be brandishing? A Glock 19X. Now with all of this in mind, I do want to reiterate that the USP is not in any way a bad gun. It is one of the best pistols out there. In fact, since every Pliskin's pick gotta have a rating, I'm giving the USP an S rank. It's up there with the G36 in regards to being a completely, not so much underrated weapon system, but misunderstood or in this case, overpriced. If the USP came at a cheaper price, I guarantee it would have been a much more prolific weapon and an iconic weapon. However, Glock stole that status away just because they offered the same quality at a cheaper price. Anyways guys, if you learned something new or just generally like this video or think I'm wrong about something I said about the USP, like, subscribe, and let me know down in the comments below. Anyways, this has been Pliskin, over and out.